the webinar.
Thank you very much. Good evening to all of you.
So
I
kindly
think
unmute yourself.
thank you very much and good evening to all of you. I am very happy to be the organization and the young team of Knowledge Teas. It's very gratifying to address you people about a very dynamic, important and highly democratic right, that is right to information. Right to information, is the elixir of democracy. If you say that oxygen is a life generating or life giving chemical, or what is it, life giving substance, I feel information is equivalent to oxygen to democracy. Without information, democracy cannot function. Without communication, there is no collection of opinion. Without collection of opinion, there is no choice of selecting or electing a leader or representative. And without election of representative, the democracy cannot survive. And the need for public scrutiny will not end with elections. It will in fact begin with elections. That means the moment you have elected your government, it starts exercising the most highly concentrated power in their hands, because the whole India, 138 crore people's votes will give the government such a huge power that they think that they can do anything. And they are masters over our army, masters over our army power, masters over our money, lakhs of crores of rupees, and they are masters over the police power. And imagine the power of the government. Executive holds too much of a power, and that power can be checked only by system, not by the people, by system. And what is the system that checks the power of executive or the political government? It is constitution. It is the system created by the constitution. It is the rule of law that constitution wants to enforce. And the rule of law means it is not rule of the people. It is rule of individuals. It is ruled by the system. It is ruled by the rule book. So we need to know what is our right, what is our government, and what is our government doing. This is the real right to information. The question is whether we have the information. It is ethics of administration originally being talked about as the right to information. It was not right, it was ethics. Whose ethics? The administrator's ethics. If the government officer is having some power about the schemes and beneficial measures that he is taking, he has to inform the people. Something like railway informing its timetable, when a particular train will come and when a particular train will go. So unless the railway informs the passengers the timings of the trains and the facilities available in the trains and the rating of train, charge of train, it is not possible for a passenger to use it. So if you want people to use it, you have to give information, complete information. Similarly, a university cannot cater to the educational needs of students unless university announces its programs and the modalities of entering into that program of education. And similarly, the government of India or government of a particular state cannot run without informing the people what it is going to do, what it is promising to do. During elections, every leader will come to you, your village. Some people will come to your house also. They send their agents to your house. They reach you and they tell you what they want to do. Do you know why they are doing it? It is not because they have a love for you, because it is the obligation. Unless people, voters, know about the leaders and their activities, they may not vote. They might distribute money, they might distribute liquor, but they'll also tell what they are going to do. And they have to tell. So when you tell that this is my promise, that is called manifesto. The manifesto is the plan, agenda of the political party, and if it wins, it is supposed to do that. When you are seeking the votes of the people, you give the information to the people. And when you get elected, will you not give the information? Every day you have to give the information. Every time you have to see that your information is communicated to the people. This is administrative ethics. This is ruler's duty. This is sovereign sovereign's obligation, constitutional obligation. The question is, are you doing it? Are you performing it? You are not performing it. And if somebody asks you when the right to information has been given to you, you will say 15 years ago, in 2015, we have right to information. 2005, we have right to information. Fine, it's a good information. But I'd like to tell you, in the 1870s, there is Indian Evidence Act, in which there are two important sections: public authority, public records. Any public record is called public record because public has right to see it. Public record is not called government record. Public record is not called secret record. Public record is not called official record. Public record is called public record. Why was it called? Even the British government called it public record. And British government itself provided access to it. You can seek that information except in some exceptional circumstances. So since 1870s, we have got right to information, if you ask me. And I'd like to tell you, there is one act called Societies Registration Act, which has come into existence in 1860. When? 1860. And it provides right to information. It says, with reference to any society, any information can be sought. And they call it right to information. Even the word was coined, right to information was coined. Then it says you can pay 25 NP and have the complete information. 25 NP was very huge amount in 1860. But our governments, they did not change this enactment. And even today, according to this law, I am entitled to and you are entitled to complete information of the society for 25 NP. Can you imagine? Wonderful right to information. We have this kind of right to information in 1860. Nobody talks about it. Okay. Now, because nobody is giving information, because people thrive, corruption thrives in secrecy. Administration thinks that it is secure in secrecy, and though people are insecure in secrecy, they don't bother, but they secure their government. Because the scandals were revealed, they were caught. Otherwise, as far as the governments will be successfully concealing the scandals, they will retain the reputation of an honest government. But the moment the scandal is revealed, they are known to the people as corrupt. So the success of the government doesn't lie in being honesty, being in an honest man, running it in an honest manner. But unfortunately, success of the democratic government lies in hiding the dishonesty. And to hide the dishonesty, secrecy helps. And because of the secrecy law all through that was ruling our country, till 2005, in spite of certain legal provisions elsewhere, we were seeing the corrupt governments. And very, very unfortunately, the governments are hiding their corruption under secret clauses. Even today, in spite of Right to Information Act coming into existence since 2005, the 15 years of dynamic practice of experience of implementation of Right to Information Act gives us an impression that people are not getting complete information and government is not ready to give information. And you know what government and Supreme Court and High Courts and various other public authorities are doing? They are hiding under exception clauses. Why are they hiding under exception clauses? Why are they fearing to disclose the information? Because disclosure brings them the real reputation. That is, the reality will be known to the people. That is the wonder. Why some information activists are being killed? Why some activists are being threatened? Because they fear the information. Because they fear the publicity. Because they fear the public opinion. That means what? Which is important in a democracy? In a democracy, what is important is information is important. Reputation is important. Public opinion is important. And if you build up a public opinion against a wrongdoing of the government, whether it is government of India or government of state, you will successfully overthrow the government in the next election. Why do the governments fail in elections? Because their reputation is known to the people. Because their corruption is understood by the people. Because the newspapers reveal what you are doing, or the RTI reveal what you are doing. That is the power of information. Earlier, before democracy was invented, when the dictatorship was ruling, the only way of overthrowing the government was revolution. But now, what is the method of overthrowing a government? Well-informed electorate, well-conducted elections, and then well-informed the people. If a vibrant citizen exercises his right to vote in a very correct manner after knowing the reality of the government, he can overthrow the government. He will not look into what is the alternative. Sometimes we don't find alternatives, but alternatives emerge in elections, not before elections. Alternatives emerge after elections. I mean, during the elections. Because people think that so-and-so is not correct, so we will vote so-and-so. I'll give you the example of Delhi government, where AAP has emerged as an alternative. Nobody thought that AAP is so strong party to counter the established national parties. But it could prove what it is doing, whether it is keeping up to their promises or not, is a different question. That is what the Delhi people have to look into. If they are vibrant citizens, they have to understand what they are doing. They have to question what they are doing. They have to get information about what they are doing. Not only AAP government, any government. For example, BJP government at the center and any other government at the states. The people should question them. People should seek information about them. And now you have a tool. You can't depend upon some accidental, good, very good, dynamic, pro-people IAS officer. You can't expect a dynamic, pro-people, pro-transparency minister. Yeah, Ram Jethmalani, I hope you know, he recently died. He was law minister. Do you know what he did? He said, all my ministry's files are open to the public. Anybody can come and have a scrutiny. It is much, much before Right to Information Act 2005 has been enacted. Long, long before. Then what happened? There was a huge crisis of a huge, they were all upset. The officers were totally upset, frustrated, and they don't know what will happen to their government. They thought the government will collapse, and everybody prevailed over Ram Jethmalani and says, sir, we are bringing Right to Information Act. Don't worry, please don't press for the implementation of this order to suppress it. That is the fear that the bureaucracy has about the disclosure of the information. That is the reason why we need right to information. Not to threaten them, but to make them account for. Not to blackmail, but to make them to do the things which they are supposed to do according to Constitution. That is the purpose of Right to Information Act. And this is the basic requirement. Why do I need the information about the government? I need information about the government because I am the government. I am the voter. I elected you, and you are ruling over my head, and you must report to me what you are doing. Are you doing the same which you told me in the manifesto? Are you doing the same which you told me when you were seeking my vote? Are you doing the same which you have promised in my city when you are addressing an election meeting? These are the questions. And if you are doing it, okay, I have no problem. If you don't do it, I'll question you. I'll expose you. I'll first get information from you, and I'll hold a press conference and tell, or I will write an article, or I'll do something. I will do something which I want to do. So this is the power of the information. This is the empowering legislation. This empowers a citizen as a Sashakt Nagarik, what we call empowered citizen. What do you mean by empowered citizen? A Sashakt Nagarik, Satark Nagarik. So then an alert Nagarik. Alert Nagarik ko kya kehte hain? Alert Nagarik is very, very alert, and he will be looking at with 100 eyes, 1,000 eyes. What are you doing? What are you doing? And you know who gave those 1,000 eyes? Right to Information gave those 1,000 eyes. And you can question with 1,000 voices. Do you know who gave those 1,000 voices? Article 19(1)(a). Freedom of speech and expression gave you the 1,000 voices. You can raise your voice, thousands will join you. Hundreds may oppose you, but thousands will join you. So with the two powers, the Right to Information under Right to Information Act 2005 and Right to Freedom of Speech and Expression under Article 19(1)(a), you are given a real power to question the persons who are not working properly, who are not doing properly. This is the power of information. This is the basic of the information. Because I am a ruler, you have to give me the information. There is one professor, Sathe, wonderful professor. He is from Pune. He wrote a wonderful book called Right to Know. And then after the Right to Information Act came, he has revised it as Right to Information. I suggest you people to read Right to Information or Right to Know, written by Professor Sathe from Pune University. He is no more, but he is a wonderful professor. He came out with complete details of the effective use of right to know and right to information. A democracy cannot survive without right to know. A democracy cannot be vibrant without right to information. Okay, let me deal with certain basics of this right. You know, Shakespeare once said, a wonderful statement he gave. He knows not that he knows not. He is a fool. Shun him. He is not worth following him. He knows that he knows not. He is simple. Teach him. If you teach him, it is okay. He knows that he knows not that he knows. He knows, but he doesn't know that he knows. He slept. You have to awaken him. He knows and knows that he knows. He is a wise person. Follow him. Then there are two more kinds of persons which Shakespeare could not imagine. He knows not, but he thinks that he knows. He knows not, but he thinks others do not know anything. These are the two dangerous personalities from whom we should be very careful. We should be watch out. And to know, Right to Information Act doesn't give you right to know. Please remember that. Right to Information gives you a tool to know. What is the tool? Tool to seek information and get information. What is the tool? An RTA application according to Right to Information Act 2005. So the right that you have inherently possessing all these years under right Article 19(1)(a), and the right which you are possessing inherently because of Indian Evidence Act and Societies Registration Act and several other enactments in this country, but you are not actively knowing it and you don't have a mechanism to seek that information. Right to Information Act 2005 is a very, very significant enactment. What it did was, it created a legislative mechanism, it created an executive scheme, it created a bureaucratic or public authority based program under which you can file an application, pay ₹10 rupee fee, ask certain required information requests, get the information, empower yourself, process that information and gain the knowledge, and apply your wisdom and question the wrongdoings of the government. This is the process. If you simply ask for information, suppose you ask who has built Parliament building in Delhi, somebody will definitely give you information. Not a big secret. But what is the use? What do you do with that information? It is available in website and you can easily access that. You better ask how the Parliament is functioning. You better ask how the particular political party members are functioning. How many questions so-and-so political party member has raised on behalf of his constituency. You raise that question, those questions, and you will be benefited. So that's a very, very, constructive use of Right to Information Act in a very, very effective manner. That's what is expected of you. For some people say they are abusing Right to Information Act. I agree. They are abusing it. Tell me who is not abusing anything that is available. They abuse everything. They abuse every right. So abuse is, of course, we have to prevent it, but remember the use. Remember the proper use. And I am afraid of non-use. I am not afraid of abuse. I am afraid of non-use of right to information. I am abuse of non-use of right to vote. I am afraid of non-use of right to freedom of speech and expression. I am abuse of non-use of right to life. If you are living, live vibrantly. If you are speaking, speak constructively for the nation. And if you are using RTI, use it correctly and get the information and question the wrongdoings of the government. This is my suggestion. So this is the basic requirement also. So then let me tell you the corruption is considered as injustice. Corruption is itself injustice. Do you know why? If a proclaimed program gives certain benefits to scholars or beneficiaries, like a pension of old age poor persons, old age poor person is entitled to that pension. If he doesn't get it because he doesn't know it, and that pension amount is grabbed by producing false names by somebody, it is injustice to real, genuine, old, poor people. And it is wastage of public money. It is cheating and it is corruption. And we have a duty. Corruption is a crime. We have duty to punish the crime. So corruption is crime, corruption is injustice, and so on and so forth. And silence is consent. If you don't question the corruption, you are silently supporting it. And if you are silent, you are joined, or you have agreed, you have tolerated, you wanted. You are simply a person waiting for joining the corrupt. So if you have to make some noise, if you have to create some nuisance, they may call it nuisance, but I am also calling it nuisance. Okay, let it be nuisance. But say that I got the information through RTI. This is what is happening in Road Transport Authority office. People are selling the license. If you have enough proof to say that, please say that. And you will definitely see that system corrects itself. If you don't question the system will not correct. It will remain corrupt, it will not correct. So liberty of thought, freedom of expression, right to vote, right to question, all these rights depend upon right to information. If you don't know, what do you do? So know first of all what is it. So Right to Information Act 2005, do you know what it did? It did not give you right to information. It recognized your right to information. Who is Parliament to give you right to information? Maybe Parliament is supreme legislative authority of this country, but you have elected the Parliament. You are very superior to Parliament. It is your information you are asking. So Right to Information Act 2005 has recognized your right to information in a particular format. That's all. It gave the format. It gave the tool. It imposed the duty on public officers to give the information. It did not donate you right to information. I also say generally in my law class, you are not given right to life by the Constitution. It is your inherent natural right to live. Because you are born in this country, you have to live in this country. It is your duty to live in this country. So your information, your right to live is your right to live. Nobody gave it to you. Then what is Article 21? What did it do? It recognized it. It guaranteed it. It provided a mechanism to protect it. It provided a mechanism to take it away when somebody is doing continuously same kind of wrongs, killing the people, for example. His right is taken away. If he is raping the woman and then killing that woman, death penalty is imposed. So, Constitution of India recognizes your right to life, prescribes why and how it should not be taken away, tells how it can be taken away. It guarantees that unless I adopt this method, I follow the law, I will not take your life. So this is what is your inherent, original, natural right. Right to information is your right. Nobody can take it away. And you should oppose if somebody wants to take it away. And do you know why I say right to life is not given to you? Because somebody who gives right to life to you, he will definitely take it away. So don't allow anybody to give right which is yours. You claim it, you ascertain it, you prove it that you are a living person. You prove it that you are a wise citizen of this country by asking for information. That is your wonderful right. And what Right to Information Act has done is, it has created a mechanism for a timely response. That's all. Timely response. Now I'd like to tell you another basic factor of right to information. It is not right to know. It is only right to information. I am very, very unhappy, I am telling you. It is only right to information. Yeah, it is not right to know. They will dump information on your head. Very difficult to know what it is. But yet, unless you have information, you can't process it and you can't know it and you cannot convert it to knowledge. And unless there is a knowledge, you cannot make it wisdom of yours. And if it is not wisdom, you can't do anything. So, right information is an important tool, source of knowledge, and tool for achieving complete transparent information about the government. That's a fantastic right. And because informed citizenry are necessary to keep vigil in the instruments on the instruments of the governance, make the government more accountable to the government. Accountable to whom? Accountable to the government. Your father gives you 100 rupees and tells you, bring that, bring this, bring that. And you bring all of them. And father asks, how much of money you have spent? What is the reminder? He says, sir, dad, I spent 90 rupees. And these are the utensils or things I bought. 10 rupees I am giving you back. That is accountability. And whether the government is doing that, if not, you question it. It has to do that. Now, there are two aspects of Right to Information Act. One is transparency, other is right to information. What is transparency? Transparency looks like right to information, but it is totally different. Transparency is the responsibility of the public authority to provide information with it on its own without anybody asking for it. You must have. I am not filing a 10 rupee right to information application to Railways Department to tell me when Rajdhani Express will start from so and so station. I will not. You have to tell it. It is your duty. Why? You need public, number one. Number two, you need public authority. You are a public authority. So give the information. Similarly, airport and everybody who is concerned with public or public authorities. Public authority does not mean only government. Public authority means any authority which deals with public activity in public for public. Okay. So transparency means giving information on your own. Right to information means I have a right to ask some more information. First basic principle is give your information. Second basic principle is I will ask for some more information. So section 4 of Right to Information Act gives you a right to know from the government the information which it is supposed to give on its own. So in my view, section 4.1b, section 4.1a, section 4.1c, section 4.1d are very, very, very important than section 3 or any other section in Right to Information Act. Even if nobody files an RT application, I must have complete information in the public domain. Even if I don't ask any information from any department, every department has a duty to give complete information to me, and that is the power of right to information. Okay? Now let me tell you, there are internationally accepted core principles of right to information. One is maximum proactive disclosure. What do you mean by proactive disclosure? That means, that's what just now I told you. Proactively, the public authority on itself has to give complete information. Then second principle, obligation to publish. Publish it. Publish it means what? Give due publicity to it. Don't hang it in your own, chamber on a notice board. Nobody will see and you will not allow anybody in your room. Put it out of your room. Put it hanging on the conspicuous place of your public authority. Even a passerby should be in a position to access to that information. That is publication. Promotion of open government. Come on, take decisions openly. What do you mean by taking decisions openly? It means that you are asked to take a decision, that you have to inform. That you are going to take a decision, you have to inform. You have taken a decision, you have to inform. And these are the reasons for your decision, you have to inform. This is called both obligation to publish and promotion of open government. A limited scope of exemptions. Yeah, that is another very important principle of RTI internationally. Limited scope, yes. We see rule is disclosure, rule is transparency, exception is secrecy. When do you want to hide your information secretly? It is something like examination. Examination paper is secret until the hour of examination. And once examination started, every student has a right to have the question paper with him. And he will give answers. And after answers are given, during the process of answer being given, You can't disturb the student. It is his information. You cannot stop him. You cannot ask him to show what is he writing to you. In fact, he should not show. He should not show to the others. He should not show to the invigilator. He should write, that's all, for 3 hours or 4 hours, whatever is the scheduled time. And after answering is over, what will happen? Is your answer sheet a secret? Is your answer sheet is a secret? Your question paper is a secret thing? You have to put it on website. This was my question. These are the model answers. And answer scripts have to be given to the students. There is a huge dilemma, huge litigation. And up to Supreme Court. In Supreme Court finally said that yes, they have a right to information about answer sheets. They have a right to information about question paper unless intellectual property right is involved. So that is only those kinds of confidentialities, only those kinds of security exceptions have to be considered as exceptions, and they should be limited. National security, privacy, private information, confidential information, or privileged information, or contempt of court related information. There are certain small non-disclosure agreement related information. Don't disclose them. Have some, yes, privacy is a right. Come on, provide privacy. Though these are the limited scope of exemption is that. There are some more rules. Processes to facilitate access. It is the duty of the government to facilitate the access. And then another principle is it should not be costly. You are not a stationary seller. You are not a stationary shop. You are a government. Government cannot sell its information. Government has to give information. And that's why Right to Information Act doesn't cover the cost of searching, cost of making, cost of printing, cost of searching, no. Just a nominal cost. Only to attribute seriousness to your task. 10 rupee. Tell me what will happen to 10 rupees? Nothing. 10 rupees has no value in a present day of inflation, of economy. It has no value. 100 rupees note also is losing its value. So what value that you have for 10 rupees? But a person who is filing thousands of RTA applications, yes, he will lose lakhs of rupees. It doesn't matter. It is his interest, his vibrant attitude that makes him to use RTA, purchase tickets and seek the information, fine. But it should be reasonable cost. And then principle 7, disclosure should take precedence. Yes. When there is a competition between disclosure and non-disclosure, precedence has to be given to disclosure. These are the basic principles of disclosure or transparency. Now, there are 2 expressions used in the RTA Act, very, very significant expressions. And this decides whether you have a right to know that information or not. What are those 2 expressions? Held or controlled. Or controlled, underline it. Held or controlled. I suggest all my listeners to note down these words because your right depends on this. Held or controlled. Not owned. You are not the owner of my information. It is my information. I am a citizen. Government information is my information. Government is not owner of my information. Government is holder of the information. So you hold, or at least you control it, because some public authority has given you the reports based on which you have to develop a scheme to benefit the people. You are controlling that information. At the same time, you are holding it. So I am asking you the information which is under your control and holding. Give me, share me, and you have to share. Can you share that information? What is your problem in sharing the information? Is it secret? Is it security secret? Are you protecting the information revealing of which might make China more powerful to attack you? No, don't give that information. I'm not interested. But all the other information, please give me. I'm interested. I want to know. It is my country, my information. Okay, now section 3. It gives, look at the very interesting language of section. Subject to the provisions of this act, all citizens shall have the right to information. All citizens shall have the right to information. Right is a legal right. It is to information. Information is defined. Shall is a mandatory provision. It is not may. All citizens may have right to information, then there is no right at all. So shall have. All citizens, that means what? Does it amount to limiting right to citizens only and not extended to persons? Some people argued like that. There are thousands of right to information applications rejected on the ground that you have not proved your citizenship. And some more enthusiastic PIO says, unless you prove your citizenship, I will not give you information. Now, nowhere it is said that a person seeking information has to prove that he is citizen of this country. Nowhere it is stated. And nowhere it is stated that PIO can refuse that information. And in fact, PIO cannot ask for proof of right citizenship unless he has a reasonable doubt, and he has to prove that he has a reasonable doubt. Tell me, where is that reasonable doubt? Where is it he has the reasonable doubt? What are the reasons for his doubting? That means what? You cannot stop because you have a doubt about the citizenship. Why did you will have doubt about the citizenship only to deny the information? Malicious, not reasonable. So that is not possible. And I'd like to give you a very interesting point of Right to Information Act. Only in section 3 it has used the expression citizen, and everywhere it has used person. You can check if you want. That means what? Person was used more than 2 times. I counted it. I answered several such RTA rejections, saying that you cannot reject. And that's what is the power of Right to Information Act. Citizen can be given, does not mean person cannot be. So you have to give the information. And anybody can ask about any other person. Suppose I am a citizen, I am asking about the information about a person. Can you deny it? So information about a person has to be given to a person. But it says citizens, fine, I have no problem. But you are giving NRI citizens also, you are considering them as citizens. And you are giving India-born persons who are residing elsewhere, doing duties, and they want to come back to our country, and they need some information. You have to give that information to them. So this is not correct to say that only citizens will have the information and others do not have. And it is as a matter of right you have this right to information. And in Sweden, since 1770 you have this right. 1770s, yeah. What a fantastic age that we have passed on with the right to information. And you know, where do they get this right to information? It is part of their freedom of speech and expression. Do you know when Bofors tragedy, Bofors corruption was revealed by 2 journalists of India. But do you know how could they get the clues of the information from Sweden? Swedish radio was talking about it, Swedish official radio. Have you ever imagined an official radio talking about corruption in purchase of defense equipment from a government? Have you ever imagined? Was that possible? Answer is, it was possible. Do you know, because there is transparency law at that point of time. And because of the transparency law, Swedish radio could talk about those things, and from Swedish radio, Indian journalists could pick up the threads, and they investigated, and they finally came out with the revelation story of Bofors being sold at a higher price and with kickbacks and all that. Of course, it is not proved. It was terrible failure on the part of the machinery, or the delay in justice dispensation, or so many other factors which could not take us to logical end of this scandal. That's a different thing. But we could get the information. Whether the courts have punished the culprits or not, Indian people have punished. They did not elect the government. That's all. That's a major punishment. That is the value of the democracy. Information is not charged. Information is not proven corruption. But information is enough to build up an opinion, and that build up opinion is enough to overthrow a government. At least if we cannot punish the corrupt officers, we can at least get rid of a corrupt government. That is the power of right to information. And any government is no exception. Any party is no exception. Don't judge Right to Information Act based on parties and party affiliation. Any party in power is prone to corruption. Power corrupts. Absolute power, absolutely. You know this. So understand this maxim, understand this statement, quote, and understand anywhere where there is concentration of power, there is open floodgate of corruption. And if you don't question, they remain corrupt. If you don't suspect, they continue to be corrupt. If you don't bring the information out of it, they will be trying to hide it. Any government, for example, any government, I don't want to give any instance to you. Every government is prone to corrupt, and it is our duty to expose their corruption using Right to Information Act. Okay. Then, I was telling you that held and controlled are the most interesting expressions, and if you hold it, you are obliged to give it. And PIO has to provide reasonable assistance to the seeker of the information, and PIO has to be pro-people's man and should give on information. And what is information is a very interesting definition you have in Right to Information Act, Section 2F. Information means any material in any form, including records. Records means what? Files. Does it include file notes? Yes, file notes also. Does it include opinion? Yeah, it includes opinion, but not opinion of the PIO. Opinion collected by the public authority on a particular aspect of that public authority's activity. Entitled to that information also. So, emails, memos. Memos you give memos to a wrong doer. You give the show cause notice to a wrongdoer. And I am entitled to show cause notice also. The Supreme Court and other courts which interpreted that information about public servants, about their performance is not official information, it is private information, is absolutely wrong. Supreme Court should have read this section 2F, and Supreme Court should have understood the relevance of public information, and should have understood as the importance of official information. One which is official cannot be secret. So I don't agree with the expression official secret. Official secret is oxymoron. It is self-contradictory. If it is official, it should be in public. If it is defense, it should be secret. If it is private, it should be secret. If it is official, it should be in public domain. So that is what is supposed to be known by everybody. Okay, advices, press releases, circulars, orders, logbooks, contracts, reports, papers, samples, models, data materials held in any electronic form, and information relating to any private body is a very, very important part. Information relating to any private body which can be accessed by a public authority under a different law for the time being in force is also information. Somebody will question, generally after a discourse on Right to Information Act, I will get a question. They'll ask, sir, will I get information from private bodies also? That's the question. First of all, you have to understand, Right to Information Act is meant for giving access to public authorities related information. That is the basic point. Second point that you can also understand is, if private authorities information is available, accessible to public authority under its regulatory power or any other power, that public authority is under an obligation to give that information which it collected under a particular legislation to the people. That's what is second part of Section 2F. Our great writers of Right to Information Act could have separated this part of Section 2F and highlighted it, but they have subtly retained it in the Right to Information Act definition of definition of information. No problem. I am only telling to have easy understanding of legislation, because nowadays you cannot use those technical language, legalese. If you use high-end language or The language which you cannot understand unless there is a dictionary support, it is a kind of secrecy. Don't have such kind of secrecy. Make it simple, open, accessible, understandable. And that is the real duty of information writers and information givers. Okay, the right to know also is defined in several enactments and judgments of the Supreme Court. I will not go into those details now because I have a lot to cover. I was telling you power corrupts and absolute power, absolutely. That is the statement of Lord Acton, very, very important. Okay, government is a holder of data. Government as a business, it has information. Government as a data holder has the information. Government as a service provider has information, and it has to give that information. So PIOs have a duty. Professional public information officers at national and subnational government levels, they have 4 major functions: disseminating reliable information, climate of trust developing, and adopting communication skills, and then monitoring public opinion. These are the duties. Now, rights of citizen to have access to information. Government bodies includes personal information about themselves. I can ask about my information. How is that you have recorded my information? What is the date of birth that you have recorded about me? I need to know that. And non-personal information held by the government and does not endanger national security, I have a right to that information. Information disseminated by the government on its own, I have the right to that information. Okay? Right to act, I told you there is a transparency, voluntary disclosure. Let me tell you the duty of the public authority. Every public authority shall maintain all its record duly catalogued and indexed in a manner and the form which facilitates the right information under this Act. This duty, unfortunately, is nobody's performing, and time has come. They cannot have the plea of reasonable time. You got 15 years of time. What are you doing? Why did you not classify? Why did you not prepare index? So the reasonability of time to provide classified, not classified, well classified information. That means categorized, compartmentalized, and then and indexed information shall be ready with you to be shared with the people. You don't have any excuse now after the loss of 15 years. You cannot say that you don't have time. You cannot say that you don't have money. Okay. Okay, now look at this slide, which gives you the information that is supposed to be disclosed. Particulars, policies, decisions, notifications, orders, agreements, developmental works details, officers and their salaries. There is a general question in a domestic dispute related cases. Spouses remuneration information, salary information is asked by another spouse, which is relevant in a maintenance case, and they say it as personal information. Section 4(1)(b) says that you have to tell how much of remuneration is being received by the public servant. You cannot say that it is not official information. You cannot say that it is personal information. But yet they are saying, I am very, very sorry to say that even Supreme Court erred on this point. Salary is not private information. Salary is public information. It has to be given. So several such points are discussed here. Now, Section 4(1)(c) says, very interesting point. If you make a decision, you have to give all the relevant facts about that decision. If you take a quasi-judicial decision, you have to give all the relevant factors of the decision. That means on your own you have to give. And what is quasi-judicial decision and administrative decision in public authority? Suppose you have launched an inquiry against corruption of a public servant, issued a show cause notice, heard him, and have the information with you. You have to give it on your own to the affected person. Who are affected by the corruption of public servant? Everybody is affected. So you have to give it to public. But unfortunately, Supreme Court in one of the cases says, this information is employer and employee information, so private, so cannot be given, which is absolutely wrong. Okay, and it has to give reasons for that. Right to information. What is right to information? Right to information means inspecting the works, taking the notes, and obtaining the copies, disks, floppies, and prints out. Okay, we have right to information definition also available, and I have already explained what is the information. And then duty of public authority is to take request for information, to write a reply, and to inform refusal within 30 days. And if you don't inform, it is assumed that you have refused the information after 30 days. Then there are several duties, and if the information belongs to some other public authority, you have a right to consult the some other authority before disclosing that information. Then I'll take you to exceptions. Section 8 talks about exceptions. It says, before I go to exceptions, I should tell you what is public authority. Public authority is defined in section 2H, but most unfortunately, every public authority is arguing that it is not a public authority, and it is taking the matters up to Supreme Court, delaying the disclosure of information. But Right to Information Act is very clear about what is public authority. If it is a government department, if it is a public body, if it is self-government institution, if it is an institution funded by the government, if it is NGO funded by the government, or if it is notified by the Constitution or by law of Parliament or state legislature or government notification of the state, it is public authority. Unfortunately, they are not accepting to this. Then there is third-party information. You have to give a notice to the third party before you give the information. And the information restrictions are depending upon 4 categories. 1, if it is harmful to any organization like sovereignty, integrity, security, strategic economic relations, scientific relations, foreign relations, or it incites the offense, or it discloses the confidential information, of course, you need not give that information. If it is prohibited by courts, tribunals, if it causes contempt of court, if it is privileges related information, and if it impedes arrest of or prosecution of certain persons, or if it is a cabinet paper, if the decision was not taken on that, you need not give. If it is commercial information, trade secret, or there is a non-disclosure agreement, or so on and so forth, or if it is intellectual property rights affected information, if it injures others' rights, need not be given. But there are public interest clauses which provide exceptions to the exemptions. Those exceptions are very important. Public interest. If you prove public interest, the information has to be given. You have a right to complain. You have a right to complain against the non-disclosure of information, non-response, and you can file a complaint under section 18(1). If you are unable to submit request, if your access is refused, if the response was not given in time, if you are asked to pay unreasonable amount of fee, or if the government has given incomplete, misleading, false information, you can file a complaint. Okay, and then you have a right of appeal also. Suppose you go to first appellate authority against refusal by the PIO, it is a right to first appeal. And if first appellate authority also refuses to give information, you have a right to go in for second appeal, and second appeal lies before Information Commissioner. Information commissioners are there in state and central also, and if the Information Commission refuses the information, you don't have a remedy beyond that. So Information Commissioner is a final authority as far as Right to Information Act is concerned. But there is a constitutional provision for judicial review, and that is available to you, that is available to the person who is refused information by even Information Commissioner. You can seek the review of the High Court and Supreme Court of India. But unfortunately, judicial review power is being used not by the citizens, but by the government, state government, central government, High Court, Supreme Court, that department, this department, Governor, Attorney General's office, Advocate General's office, Chief Minister's office, Minister's office. Everybody is asking judicial review of the decision of the Information Commissioner, who asked disclosure of some information from that public authority. Very unfortunate, I'm extremely sorry for that. For example, some of the commissioners gave more disclosure orders. Some of the commissioners gave more non-disclosure orders. I'm not going to name them. I'm not going to blame anybody. It is for you to research. You tell who gave more disclosure orders and how many disclosure orders are implemented. It is your duty. So when a commissioner asks disclosure of information, government is going to High Court. High Court is granting stay. And if High Court also permits, department is taking the issue to Supreme Court. And Supreme Court, how many cases Supreme Court can hear? And unfortunately, in some of the cases, Supreme Court also agreed with a non-disclosure stand of the government. So this is the problem of the litigation about right to information engaged only by the government, more by the government and less by the people. Because people cannot afford to go to High Court to seek some information, they simply keep silent. Whereas government department, they will use public money to oppose your question, oppose your right to request to information, and they will take up to you Supreme Court. This is a very, very pathetic abuse of authority against right to information. If anybody is talking abuse of Right to Information Act, I would like to tell them that government is abusing their authority by taking the issues or disclosure orders to Supreme Court or High Courts. Shall I stop here and wait for questions, or do you have time for me to continue? The organizers, I would like to ask.
Sir, I think you should continue and we'll take the questions at the end together.
Now, shall I continue for some more time?
Yes, sir.
How much time I should continue?
Sir, kindly, the session is going really good. Take as much time as you want.
As you want.
As much time as you want.
Okay. So public interest clause is a very important class. That is what I have explained. And another point I'd like to stress upon is the independence of information commissioners. If information commissioner is not dependent upon the government, he is not lured by post-retirement positions, if he is not threatened by the government, if he is not threatened by the litigation, constant litigation, he will be independent. And if he has a 5-year term according to original act, he will be independent. If his position is irremovable by the government, he will remain independent. But unfortunately, the government of India has amended Right to Information Act recently in 2019, and because of that, independence of Right to Information Commissioner has been totally diluted. I am worried about it, but still, if there is a honest and very good pro-people, pro-RTI, pro-democracy, pro-honest the personality occupying the Right to Information Commissioner position, he will definitely do justice to the people. Okay, now I'd like to tell you there is one important class under Section 20, that is penalty class. Originally, I was told, I know also, that Right to Information Act has a clause which says that if you malafidly deny the information, PIO can be sent to jail for 3 months or 2 months. But it was opposed by the bureaucracy. The officers opposed, saying that it will create a lot of crisis of decision making in the administration, which will not be good for the country. So they removed it. Now the penalty remained in the enactment for the last 15 years is, if you don't furnish information within 30 days, if you furnish incorrect information, incomplete information, malafidly denied, or destroyed the information or obstructed the flow of giving information, you can be, that means a PIO can be punished with penalty up to 25,000 rupees for 250 rupees per day, at the rate of 250 rupees per day, not beyond 25,000 rupees in all. So that is the punishment, and along with that, if there is a possibility a commissioner may recommend disciplinary action if information is denied without reasonable cause, persistently he failed to receive and persistently not furnished information. So that is the position where disciplinary action can be recommended. See, it is really not a great punishment. Okay, commissioner recommends, it doesn't mandate. When he recommends the disciplinary action, the authority is free to take it up or not to take it up. So it is, I don't think it's any real penal power. Okay, that's what is section 20. Then there are several cases on that, and unfortunately, let me tell you, if a commissioner has imposed penalty, government is filing a writ petition on behalf of PIO. Government is filing. Spending public money, appointing a government lawyer at the public exchequer, at the cost of public exchequer, and a person who denied information and fined by commissioner is defended by the government in Supreme Court, High Court, or at least High Court. Most of the cases are in High Court. Unfortunate, most unethical, and it is abuse of public money, abuse of public power, abuse of authority in denying the information under Right to Information Act. Very, very sorry state of affairs. Okay, so let me tell you, first exception talks about security related exception. Second exception is information is forbidden by the court. Third is breach of privilege related information. Then the fourth is commercial confidence related information. Then you have the public interest overrider for that, and fiduciary trust related information is one of the most abused class. Then you have 81F, the confidence, the information received from foreign government. Then you have 81G, which endanger the security of the person. And you have 81I, cabinet papers. Why cabinet papers should be secret, I don't understand. But of course, the law says so. But if you decide, if the cabinet has taken a decision, it has to give complete information about that decision. Even section 41C talks about it. If a cabinet takes a decision, you have to give entire information is available there also in 81C. 81J, another greatly misused section is personal information. Government uses all its power, machinery, money to deny information under an abused clause that information you sought is private, personal information of so-and-so officer. This is a sad state of affairs in this country. Even today, the most of the information requests are denied under this clause, whereas there are several exceptions to this clause. And first of all, the performance of officer cannot be denied under personal information clause. But unfortunately, Supreme Court upheld it under Girish Ramchandra Deshpande case, and several other judgments followed it. Unfortunate. I think someday will come. I am hopeful of that day. Someday they will come, and there will be reasonable thinkers in the decision making seats, and they will give good decisions about the real information to be disclosed to the people without misusing the clause, personal information clause. Okay, now I'd like to touch upon a very important point, that is en bloc exemptions given to certain organizations. Police is not excluded, but unfortunately CBI is excluded. CBI is nothing but police, but why should it be excluded when police is coming under the category of Right to Information Act? Why not CBI? So this is again arbitrary power of the government of India to exclude certain organizations from disclosure. But I'd like to tell you, the law is very well framed. Our Right to Information Act says the information sought from the exempted organization also can be given if it is relating to concerning corruption and human rights violation. Remember it. No information which is not related to corruption and human rights violation can be given. Agreed. But every information relating to corruption and human rights violation has to be given. Okay? This is about the exempted authorities. And I think with this I have concluded my part of disclosure about Right to Information Act. There are several things, several dynamics that we can talk about continuously, but I would like to take questions, and while answering the questions I would like to explain certain other dynamic aspects. Transparency is the duty of the government. RTI is right of the people, and democracy demands easy flow of information. You must know, no more secrets, know more about RTI.
Thank you so much,
Thank
sir.
you.
The session was indeed very insightful. We got to learn a lot. There are so many